Hey guys, for homework assignment number 2, I want to talk to you about two technological innovations discovered and invented in the 19th century. That is the stethoscope and the X-ray, and how their historical significance totally changed the world of medicine today. So, let's get to it. In the beginning, in 400 BC, Hippocrates was considered to be the first physician to practice a form of auscultation by using a technique known as succussion splash. Succussion splash involves shaking a patient by the shoulders to elicit a splashing sound in the pleural cavity to diagnose the presence of air or fluid. Prior to the 19th century and the invention of the stethoscope, immediate auscultation was the chosen method, and this involved placing one's ear directly onto the body of the patient. However, complications such as inadequate hygiene, contagious diseases, modesty for the opposite sex, and the difficulty hearing symptoms from obese patients would cause this method to be undesirable. In September 1816, a French physician named René Théophile Hyacinthe Laennec observed two children sending signals to each other using a long piece of wood and a pin. During a medical visit to a young woman with symptoms of heart complications, her degree of fatness, age, and sex forbade an examination by direct auscultation. As described and translated in Laennec's notes, I happen to recollect a simple well-known fact in acoustics, where sound can be conveyed through certain solid bodies, as when we hear the scratch of a pin at one end of a piece of wood, on applying our ear to the other. Immediately I rolled a sheet of paper into a kind of cylinder and applied one end of it to the region of the heart, and the other to my ear, and was not a little surprised, pleased to find that I could thereby perceive the action of the heart in a manner much more clear and distinct than I had ever been able to do by immediate auscultation. Laennec spent the next 3 years testing various types of materials to make tubes to perfect his design. While working at the Necker Hospital in Paris, he made highly scientific and useful descriptions of his clinical findings on auscultation related to chest disease, such as tuberculosis, pneumonia, bronchiectasis, pleurisy, pneumothorax, phthisis, and emphysema. In the end, he preferred a cylinder tube of wood, an inch and a half diameter and a foot long, that was hollowed out in the center into a funnel shape and can be disassembled into two divided portions for portability and storage convenience. He named his instrument the stethoscope, from the Greek words stethos, meaning chest, and skopin, meaning to explore. On August 13, 1826, at the age of 45 years old, Laennec died ironically due to tuberculosis. Just over 20 years later, a brilliant experimentalist was born in Munich, Germany. Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen was a professor of physics in Wurzburg, Bavaria, and was the inventor of the X-ray. X-rays are powerful, invisible electromagnetic radiation rays similar to that of visible light, but much shorter wavelength, and can pass through various objects to make it possible to see inside, for example, bones and organs inside a human's body. On November 8, 1895, Röntgen noticed that when he shielded the tube with heavy black cardboard, the green fluorescent light caused a planetarium screen 9 feet away to glow, too far away to be reacting to the cathode rays as he understood them. He determined the fluorescence was caused by invisible rays originating from the Crookes tube he was using to study the cathode rays, later recognized as electrons, which penetrated the opaque black paper wrapped around the tube. Röntgen spent the following weeks experimenting with these X-rays, which he named after the common mathematical unknown X, finally taking a famous photographic image of his wife Bertha's hand, using new rays instead of light for the exposure. Although the X-ray can be considered a lucky accident, Röntgen's discovery was one of the last scientific bombshells of the 19th century. It was received with extraordinary interest by both scientists and laymen, because scientists everywhere could duplicate his experiment because the cathode tube was very well known during this period. For his discovery, Röntgen was awarded the first Nobel Prize in Physics in 1901. He even rejected a title that would have given him entry into German nobility, donated his Nobel Prize money to his university, and surprisingly, he never took out any patents on X-rays to ensure that the world would freely benefit from his work. Today, Röntgen is widely recognized as a brilliant experimentalist who never sought honors or financial profits for his research. Very few scientific breakthroughs have had an immediate impact as Wilhelm Röntgen's discovery of X-rays. It instantly revolutionized the fields of physics and medicine. Both inventions, the X-ray and the stethoscope, have been so significant in the past that they are still significant today. The X-ray in the medical field is used to find diseases of the teeth, locate foreign objects, analyze broken bones, detect cancer, ulcers, kidney stones, and other abnormalities, as well as the TSA using a form of X-ray to examine luggage and packages for weapons and contraband items. On the other hand, the stethoscope is still used today. It's just more modern and advanced in design. It's still used to assess cardiac, respiratory, and intestinal state. Just as the stethoscope has become more modernized and more advanced, the evolution of Wilhelm's X-ray has followed that same trend, with the CT, MRI, and PET scans found all over hospitals and clinics today. The evolution of Laennec's stethoscope has modernized throughout the years. In 1851, there was the binaural stethoscope. In 1852, the diaphragm. 1895, the Pinard stethoscope. Then in the 1940s, with Rapport and Sprague's design, with a combination of the bell and diaphragm, which consists of two sides, one used for respiratory system and then the other for the cardiovascular system. However, both devices are beginning to be considered obsolete and low-tech. So are stethoscopes becoming obsolete? Well, in an editorial in the Journal of American College of Cardiology, a distinguished cardiologist named Valentine Fuster disagrees with his colleagues. He warns against over-reliance on advanced technologies, like ultrasound versus stethoscope. He says, as clinics, we need to continue to interact with our patients, listen to their histories, their lifestyles, and their bodies, the last of which is where auscultation continues to play a dynamic role in our daily practices. Stethoscopes, he writes, allows us to physically listen to the sounds of the body. So what about X-rays? Are they becoming obsolete? Well, they are also being subjected to criticism as more practices and clinics are gradually implementing more digital and more modern technology. Coco Eaton, MD, claims that digital images offer more accuracy than traditional film images, and retrievals are instantaneous from office or home, while others disagree by mentioning the additional expenses, lack of reimbursement, difficulty learning the formats, and compatible technology to keep good quality images. In the end, both Ren Laennec and Wilhelm Röntgen's inventions are quintessential tools used in the world of medicine today. Both inventions of the stethoscope and the X-ray are invaluable tools that revolutionize clinical medicine and solidify the importance of evidence-based diagnosis to deliver appropriate care in an efficient manner to each patient, and will continue to lay us the foundation and basis of the future advances in the study of medicine.